but not many people have done it a bunch. And I think just recognizing how special those are, appreciating the work and the support and the team around you that's gotten you there, and just enjoying accomplishing those kind of goals, maybe more than I took them for granted in a way, just because you just kind of hope or seem that they can just keep happening.
Want to go right side here, Jason?
Jordan, you mentioned Sunday being must-see TV at Oakmont. I just wanted to get your thoughts on having a signature event the week after a major championship. Obviously, you guys are putting so much into trying to win a major championship, but the tour gets to sort of pick up on that momentum from a major as well. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think this one is, this is a unique one because it's tougher if the U.S. Open's on the West Coast. Then you're going cross country right off a major, and but it's an event that I played post U.S. Open, a couple times, a few times before it was elevated, anyways, because it's such a great event. We have 2 elevated events right after majors, and 2 of them we don't, or 2 of the majors we don't. I'm not sure. I mean, I've played a lot this year, and I've been playing a lot the last few years, and I don't mind it right now. So I may not be the best person to ask versus somebody who's picking a tighter schedule and maybe would like it the week before, where we don't have one this year. We did last year, the week before. But not everybody in these events are in the majors, and then not everybody makes the cut from the major and would like to kind of get a chance at a big event the next week. So I haven't had a hard time getting up for the events after. I adjusted my schedule this week versus Hilton Head, because Hilton Head on Monday I took off fully and felt like, okay, actually, I need to kind of get ready, and I came out and did a couple hours on Monday just to kind of I was striking it well, so just keep the pattern going and then go work a little bit on some stuff that I needed to work on. So I was very happy with coming out and doing that, even though it was a Monday post-major.
Based on that, where would you assess your game right now? What are you happy with? What do you think you need to work on a little bit?
I'm pleased with most everything. I'm just I feel like I'm getting done with the round, and my scoring is, I'm just like, a couple times during the week, there's just kind of 2 shots that I'm like, man, I just played 2 strokes better today. And normally that just comes down to capitalizing on opportunities, short game stuff, taking advantage of easy holes, making putts. Last week I had, I had a lot of momentum, and then I made a triple with just making a mistake on a couple putts, hitting them a little bit too hard where I wanted to make the par, I didn't want to make the bogey, and I held patient all week and made the one U.S. Open mistake you can't make, which is to try to do something a little special. And other weeks I felt like I hit a good tee shot, and I missed it by 5 yards. I needed to miss it by 3, something like that, where there was a stroke or 2 difference. It feels like I just need to stay the course, and good things are coming. And I think the biggest thing for me right now is not trying. It's going to be harder and harder as we get to the end of the season to try to force results, given I only have however many events left now. I don't have the runway that you had in February, but so if it all comes together by the end of the season, great. If not, then it's already been about pretty much a better season, on the better end of what I could have asked for coming off surgery and starting late into the season. So I'm looking forward to this week. This is a big week. The Open's a big week. And then look to the playoffs, and there's a chance I'd add an event somewhere. I'm not sure. It'll just kind of depend on the standings, because the idea is to make it to East Lake.
Back to the left side with Kevin.
Hey, Jordan, in terms of your recovery between events, Sunday night, Monday, either physical or mental, is there what would you say is the importance of that overall, and does it kind of change week to week, or do you put more focus on it a week after the U.S. Open that can be kind of grueling?
Yeah, I had a few beers Sunday. I was waiting. We were waiting on the Schefflers to come over here, and he was after the delay. So I went to Buffalo Wild Wings with Michael, and so I didn't exactly eat or drink the way I normally do there. And then, so most of the time it's very, very good, but sometimes post the U.S. Open I just kind of needed to throw a few back, and then by yesterday I was good. I'm still young enough that doesn't really bother me on the next day. So yeah, I think it's not so different week to week. It's changed a lot for me over the last few years, especially traveling with my family and stuff like that. And also having the accessibility we have now out here with our recovery trailer and, physios being super accessible and stuff. So my recovery post-event into beginning the next week is I'm getting on top of it quite a bit more than I used to, which is great. And I feel like off of last week, it was a pretty tough walk. This is my 10th out of 12 weeks as well. So my legs are a little bit, were a little clumsy the last 2 days, and I woke up this morning and feel ready and fresh, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Is that if you can get there by Wednesday morning or sooner after hitting a couple training sessions and kind of getting everything on the recovery side going, then we're good to go. But yeah, I eat very clean and think a lot about how we're recovering now, and it's going to have to continue as I get older.
And kind of specifically to this week, the fourth hole has been the toughest hole here over the last 5 years. I was wondering if you could speak to the nature of that hole and how you kind of game plan and think about that hole and its challenge.
Well, it's a really tough drive. It's probably the narrowest area to hit driver. If you pull it off, it's just an 8 or maybe even a 9-iron downwind, so it's not too bad. But when you miss the fairway is where it becomes a challenge, because both bunkers are difficult to get it on the green. And then the miss for most people is going to be over the right bunker. It's thick. It's some of the thicker rough on the golf course, and then they have a tree blocking you from being able to go at the green. So it's all in really the tee ball. From there, you're trying to hit the middle of the green. Most of the pins are over by the runoff on the right side, and so even when you hit the middle of the green, you kind of have to be defensive with your putt. So all in all, it's a hard par 4. It's not surprising that it's playing the toughest. I think we're going to see a couple different winds there this week, but primarily downwind, which helps. And then that 4-5 stretch, is those 2 holes you're kind of looking, hey, let's just get it on center of the green with a birdie putt, and if you can play them both even par, you beat the field, and there's plenty of other chances out here.
And we'll take final one with MK here in the back.
With the news yesterday of Brian stepping in as the new CEO, just what are your thoughts on that, and have you had the chance to speak with him yet?
Yeah, I did yesterday, and I thought his comments to our, to the players that were there I really, really liked him. I think he seems like a steal from the most successful sports organization in the world, and someone who was, on the path to becoming potentially commissioner over there to coming over and taking the PGA Tour forward. I really, I think he resonated a lot with some of the players about challenging some of the networks on how they're showing the product, and then being open and willing to adapt and change while maintaining the integrity of the game. So, I think he said all the right things, from other players to other people that are sponsors that have reached out to me since, have all been super excited about that hire, and that we're very lucky to have him.
And when you did speak with him yesterday, just what was that conversation like? And
I was just kind of an introduction, and not much more than that. It was with a couple others, and I was just kind of mentioning how I was on the board and I'm not anymore, and so on and so forth. But it was, he's encouraging everyone to reach out, and he's going to reach out to players, and he wants their perspective on things. And as you know, we can get quite opinionated about certain things, and so I'm sure he'll take what he knows to be something that could help, and not. It just seems like he can bring a wealth of experience in a lot of places, but then he's super open to learning more about golf and the PGA Tour's business and the product itself, from those that know more about it, until he gets caught up. And it just seems like a very, it seems like a great approach that sponsors are going to really enjoy, players are going to really enjoy, the networks should really enjoy working with them, and that combination hopefully makes the product better and better to the fan, which is really what we're trying to do.
And now, final question from MK.
Hey, Jordan. You mentioned earlier your stretch of playing golf. You've done 7 of the last 8 events. Just how do you keep a pace that allows you to have reasonable goals that you set to get the results that you want?
What do you mean by a pace?
I mean, I think 7 out of 8 weeks you're on
like
the road a
like
lot.
how, like when I'm scheduling it.
Yeah.
Like, well, I didn't play a tournament for 6 months, so that helps. That gets a fire under you and makes you want to be out there. And then from there, you know, with Dallas and Fort Worth being important to me and where they were on the schedule, you know, I was kind of, you know, stuck in how often I was going to play this time of year. So then it was, you know, where do I take days off? How do I prepare? How am I taking care of my body? How am I eating? How, you know, just really taking once I started, you know, went down to San Antonio, it was, okay, we're about to start this heavy stretch that has a few majors and a bunch of elevated events mixed in, and I've got to be really diligent about what I do. And most importantly for me, it was, not every event's going to go great. And if you can feel like you're getting better, you know, each stretch a little bit better, then that should be the goal, because it's still going to be long term coming back from this injury, and I shouldn't expect to you know, come out firing right away. And I feel like I've started to knock on the door a little bit, and that's been made this whole stretch worth it.
Perfect. That's all the questions we have. Thank you, Jordan, for the time.
Thank you.
All right.